Hello, this is Updata, and we are going to be talking about
Coming at you live
from where?
from New York.
I don't think so.
You look behind us, folks. New York backdrop right there.
Chase, they can't see anything.
Yeah, exactly. So we're at New York.
Today we are going to be talking about Assassin's Creed.
This is going to be a whole episode dedicated to your boys in white. The cape wearing, eagle looking at motherfuckers.
Oh, got it. The eagle wearing motherfuckers.
So
we're going to be starting with the series and move on to other things more recent.
we'll probably do like the series up until Syndicate, then the movie, and then Origins after. So let's get started. Let's go with your OG boy, Assassin's Creed, numero uno, or just Assassin's Creed. Didn't have much. Followed the story of B.A. Altair. Now this series was like in a bunch of eras and time periods. They all had their own like sets of spots in time, and because these are like historical games. So with the first one, they took a little bit of the Third Crusade, and they were like, all right, let's run with this. We saw a lot of different stuff in this one compared to like other games at the time, and especially like the wall climbing, the parkour, and the combat, and this whole like present day / past historical sort of battle for finding the apple, which was like some, what do they call it, precursor race thing. It was like an alien, well, not like an alien artifact, but a precursor artifact that had like mysterious powers that they were trying to find. So you had the Assassin's Creed Brotherhood against Knights Templar, or Abstergo, as they are in modern day. So Assassin's Creed came out. It was pretty good, pretty decent. It was pretty much. The biggest complaint was that the missions were pretty much similar all across the board. There wasn't much variation. It was just the same thing over and over again. But it was decent enough to where it got a sequel. Except this one came out 2 years later.
Really?
Yeah, which after this they start doing it annually, but and then Assassin's Creed 2 basically fixed all of it. So the present day story for Assassin's Creed follows Desmond Miles.
Yeah, that's right.
And he's basically the only Abstergo kidnaps him.
Yeah.
And they have him run through tests to try and find where the apple is hidden so that they can rule the world. So, basic evil guy plot. Sets up the story pretty well. Then we go on. He's linked to Altair, which looks strangely a lot like him. Eerily similar. And then we go to Assassin's Creed 2 with your boy Ezio Auditore. Go to the Renaissance period in Italy. And this one really fixed a lot of the complaints of the first game, because a lot of the mission types were very different. The only time that they'd probably get similar is the side missions that they had. But other than that, and you could like go around to different places like Venice, and you had a home base, Monteriggioni, that you would build up and get revenue from. So Assassin's Creed 2 filled out a lot of the spots that Assassin's Creed was lacking in. So at this point they were like, all right, now we can do this annually. So then they went to Brotherhood.
We need to quit fucking around. We're doing this shit every year.
Every year. Which is actually, this one and Call of Duty are like one of the only annual releases.
That's it? There's nothing else
I
like
don't
that?
think so, no. But, I mean, of course, not now. Assassin's Creed isn't like that anymore. but Call of Duty is.
That's weird. Now that you say that, I like every Christmas, like you don't not hear about something like Call of Duty coming out or Assassin's Creed or.
Yeah.
That's kind of weird to look
right?
back on.
It's kind of weird that Call of Duty and Assassin's Creed are the ones that are so far apart.
Yeah.
They're two completely different genres, but they're the ones that get the annual releases.
Yeah. Which, if you look back, it kind of ruined both of them.
It did. Because it caused, fatigue for a lot of the fans. And it was really hard for them to change up their formula with just having a year between releases. Like, as soon as they started work on one project, they'd most likely have the next one in concept.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I remember they were talking about that with Unity. It took them a few, 4 years or something. So they had this thing going since, 3 probably. Don't quote me on that. Anyway, so they're like, all right, let's do this thing. We want to make it annually. So they put out Brotherhood, which basically...
My personal favorite.
I'm gonna let you take over for this one. Because I know this was your baby.
Brotherhood was a continuation of Ezio's story. And it was the first game in the series where you could start recruiting, which set me off on that whole genre. So I was like, okay, this is the shit, and I played it 24/7. Also, you build, things like thieves' dens and around the city of Rome, and you basically just buy out Rome until you're a freaking billionaire.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. It's crazy how much you can buy, too.
And it gets easier and easier, too. The more you buy, the more revenue you collect.
Because then you have access to better gear. And that's really the main factor, both 2 and Brotherhood.
Yeah.
Is that you're restricted because of how low your funds are at the beginning of the game. So I think that they paced it pretty well, but it seems a little arbitrary in a sense.
I just like the way it feels.
Oh, no. I'm saying, the game is great. It's just the progression is just a little weird.
Yeah, I get that. But, dude, I was getting so rich, I was like, fuck it, I'll buy a painting. I don't even need a painting.
I don't even need it. What is this?
But I'd like to have it.
It's mine now.
I need to treat myself.
Plus, but the main problem I had with Brotherhood was it was just Rome. The map was really big. Don't get me
you did leave Rome a couple.
Yeah, but it wasn't like at the beginning of the game you went to Monteregione, but that was just for the beginning, and then it got fucked up. Yeah. So you had to go to Rome. But that's where you spent most of your time in.
Yeah.
So whereas in 2 you could go to there's 4 different maps I think that you could go to.
I actually have a hard time remembering 2. Because it kind of blends with Brotherhood for me.
I have to like Brotherhood a lot more.
Yeah.
2 was a little bit...
It was new. I thought it was better than the first one.
Oh, yeah. No doubt about that. It was definitely way better.
There's more...
The combat was so much easier, I guess. Because in 1, the window to parry and stuff was so small. You had to be perfect, you had to see that animation and be get right on it, press that button as soon as you see the sword come up. So and they made it a lot wider in 2, so the combat was a lot easier, but the parkour was definitely a lot better in 2. Well, I would say it was a little bit better because it still felt very much the same as 1.
They added new things like the grip, the silver grip that made you able to jump higher, and
which was so. It's really weird now.
Kind of defied physics a little bit.
Yeah, it did.
Let me jump. I have 2 stories.
I have grips now. I can now jump to the top of this building. Which is kind of weird thinking about it now because. In all the newer iterations, that's a day 1.
Yeah.
And you start the game and you can do that. So I don't know how I felt about Brotherhood being 1 map. The map was good though. It certainly was big enough to.
It takes forever to explore.
Take you a while to like get through everything. Definitely. And the missions were really fun too.
Yeah.
And I think I enjoyed. It was more of Ezio coming into the whole. He was at this point he was becoming the leader of the assassins almost. Whereas in 2 he was like the newbie.
Yeah.
Everyone was trying to teach him how to do stuff. And so in Brotherhood, now he's like coming into it. The combat was way easier.
Yeah.
In Brotherhood, because
I like it back then because it wasn't as confusing.
What do you mean?
Like the story, like it was okay that I get everything. I think it's for me. It started getting confusing after 3, like with.
Are you talking about the present day or the past?
Like 2, like Assassin's Creed 2.
Yeah, I know.
I was like, I could follow that easy. I was like, okay, I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm here for.
So you mean the plot of the overall game?
Yeah, yeah. Okay. And then after 3...
Okay, well, I guess we'll get to that then.
Okay. Well,
hold on.
Okay. Hold me back, Chief.
Oh, yeah, so in 2, present day, by the way, forgot to mention that. Desmond, what was that girl? That supporting character?
The blonde?
Yeah, that sort of liked him.
I forget her name. Her character's name.
Oh my god. That's ridiculous. She is able to like get him out of there, out of the Abstergo facility. And
that was in 1, right?
No.
Or no?
That's in 2.
That's in 2.
In 1, she's like there just help, like an assistant. And yeah, I don't know. It's not saying it. Oh, Lucy.
Yeah.
Okay. So Lucy takes him out of the Abstergo facility, and takes him to a warehouse somewhere where she has like 2 other members of the Brotherhood, and they work out of there to try to find where the piece of Eden is. So Desmond like starts learning a little bit more. He gets like this weird PTSD sort of stuff from the Animus. It was like shadow something, where he would like see images.
Like a sixth sense or like goes like.
It's like an imprinting sort of deal, where his mind couldn't like get out of the past sort of deal, and he didn't know like where it was. So, and then in let's see, Brotherhood, the Abstergo found them in the warehouse in the present day, and so they moved to Monteregione, which I thought was really cool when I came from 2, because you get to explore present day Monteregione, and they had like artifacts of Ezio's stuff sometimes, or his brother's. His brother had that feather collection box.
Yeah.
He found that. I was like,
or was his sister?
No, this is like little brother that got killed.
Oh yeah.
Because only his sister and his mom survived.
And they continue that like tradition throughout the game or whatever. Yeah.
And it was really sad. Because it was like, they're dead now. Because you're walking around in this place, and it was like, everyone lived here. So I thought it was a really cool callback to 2. So, and then they came out with Revelations. I don't know if you played as much of Revelations.
Oh, I did.
Really?
You can recruit, so. And it was like more like detailed with your little army or whatever, too. You had more options for armor and stuff like that.
It was really cool. And bombs. They introduced
bombs. They introduced... I didn't really mess with that as much.
It was kind of... Because it was like a crafting thing, too. And I was like, I have to get resources for that.
Yeah.
And things are limited as it is. It was interesting, though. This was set in... I think Ezio's middle-aged now in Revelations.
Yeah, definitely older.
And he's going to Constantinople to set up a base there or fight the Templars. Something.
I think he was pursuing something, looking for something.
It had to be. Oh, he because at the beginning of the game he goes to the first base of Assassin's Creed.
Are they trying to hang him and shit or whatever?
Yeah, where they're at there, and he sees Altair.
Yeah.
Which it says in the game his former master, but I never have seen him interact with him. Well, actually, I don't think that's even possible. So, it's like, well, they called him something. I guess his inspiration. Because they say Ezio sees his former, and then it's Altair, but I'm not sure what they called him in relation to Ezio
or something.
Because, well, Ezio knows who he is, obviously.
Yeah,
but
he's like a legend or...
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which, I thought that was cool.
Yeah, he kind of follows his legend.
Which is why I was like, I really, as the series went on, I was like, please give some reference to past characters. That'd be so cool. Anyway, so we have Revelations. He goes to that place in the Middle East, I think. And and then goes to Constantinople in search of something. And in present day, Desmond goes into like some coma thing.
Yeah.
And the rest of the group is transporting him somewhere.
He finds his like dad or...
Yeah, his dad is with him.
Yeah.
And he's like talking to another subject. He's like on this
that
weird...
was weird. Like they changed him up. Like his...
Oh, yeah.
The way
they
he
go
looked.
through so many iterations of like what he looks like. He looked like Adam Sandler in that one. It's really weird because he looked completely different than Brotherhood. And then he looks completely different in 3.
But he looked more similar to the previous ones in 3, right?
Yeah.
They were like, oh, we fucked up on the last one.
Yeah.
We need to make him look more like he used to.
Yeah.
No shit.
So he was on this weird virtual island. And it had this weird... It was like a side mission on those things. Where like you could... It was like a first-person puzzle platformer.
Mm-hmm.
Those weird side missions. And they would like reveal stories about his past with his dad, I think. Which is interesting. Except for when, they kill him off in 3. So.
What sucks is if you weren't interested, it would take you out of the game that you're really invested in it to do some,
Mm-hmm.
BS puzzle work.
Yeah.
Which sometimes for me would take forever. I don't know about other people, but I sucked at those missions.
Sometimes I'd be like, all right, we'll forget it. I'm just going to go back to the cool stuff. But it was pretty fun. I like the, what was the thing he got? The hook?
Yeah, so
the
he
hook
could,
thing?
like, zip
hook
line.
blade or something?
Yeah.
So those were cool. I like that. I couldn't really get the animation to work where you would use it in combat.
Mm-hmm.
But it looked really cool in the trailers and stuff. Oh, yeah, in the combat in Brotherhood and Revelations was sort of like, if you killed somebody, you could kill everybody else around you.
Yeah,
if you didn't get hit.
Kind of like Batman. You usually hit like...
Yeah, but at least
you
with
get a
that,
streak going and then you dominate everybody.
True. But at least with that, you have to watch out for I guess you have to do the same thing. Where you have to block and stuff.
Yeah.
So, Assassin's Creed did it first. So, and then we went on to 3. American Revolution. The colonial era. Man, I enjoyed that game. Parkour, not so much. It was really bad.
It was too open.
I think, yeah, there wasn't... Well, and it makes sense, obviously, for the time period, but it just didn't make it compelling. There wasn't really much to move around in.
Yeah.
Like, when you would go out into the forest, there's specific paths that you can only take through the trees,
Yeah.
Like, certain predetermined routes. And as for, the cities and stuff, if you went on top of a building, there would at least be a guard there, and then you'd be spotted. And they'd be after you. And then you'd have to start running from everybody in town. So there just wasn't really a point to go up on the rooftops. Like there was in Brotherhood, Revelation, all those before it.
With 3, I was like, this is cool, like cooler than the last one, but I was also kind of let down.
Yeah.
Cause, and don't laugh at me.
I'm gonna laugh.
But that like there was so much that could have been done with like rebuilding the order, like in a new territory.
You mean the present day or
No, the past. That like start with like building an army a little bit, and because you got this guy teaching you everything there is to know about it, and just like go from there. Like, and it just kind of took you along this story, which story wasn't bad at all, but I feel like there's more that could have been done there. Added on.
I thought it was a really interesting setup, what they had, because you start off with being the dad,
yeah,
and you like recruit all these guys, and then you find out that they're Templars.
Yeah.
So you come into this like, oh, I'm gonna have to kill all of the guys. So I thought that was pretty cool, but it took forever to get that assassin's uniform.
Yeah.
And I remember so many people saying that, when do I get my Assassin's Creed uniform? Like the day it came out. So it was really funny to see that. But I liked how it was a sort of, the sun rising up against his,
Father.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, what did you say you had a problem with?
Building your...
Oh, yeah. So...
Which they had a different aspect on it. Like, it was like frontier kind of stuff. And they were like, well, we have a settlement you can do your stuff on.
Yeah, they had a home front sort of deal. And they were like building up a... It's like an outpost, I guess.
Yeah.
But you really only had that one guy as the sort of assassin. He was the only real assassin there.
Your mentor?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and then they had those naval missions.
Yeah.
Which sparked off 4.
Yeah.
But we'll get into that. In present day, just it got really stupid. To me, the ending of Revelations was probably really fun. And then, actually, I think in Brotherhood at the end you get the apple, and you start using it.
Yes.
And like you get it from the Borgias.
Yeah.
And you start using it. I was like, holy shit, I want this thing all the time. And then in Revelations, I think Desmond finally gets it or something, and then it falls out of their hands right after that because they wanted to have another game.
Yeah.
But anyway. Then in 3, they go into this like secret underground precursor place, and Desmond starts seeing like Juno or something, who was like
with a god or whatever.
Something from like the past thing, and it just got so. Well, let's talk about the protagonist. Okay, he was badass. He's badass. He's a badass guy.
Which one?
Connor.
Yeah.
His animations were spot on.
Mm-hmm.
But everything other than that, I didn't really care about. It was really. He was really. He had some badass animations and stuff, and I really enjoyed slicing dudes up and actually going in to get in fights just to fight people. They had these like Jaeger units that were like super hard. If you got to the maxed, what is it called? Suspicion level?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Wanted.
Something, yeah. And they would like come and hunt you down.
Yeah.
And it'd be really hard to like take them out. The only way I found to effectively knock them out was to like go barehanded and disarm them, and then just like slice them up because they couldn't defend. Anyway, so in the present day, towards the end of the game, something happens where it's like the gods tell him that he's like the world is gonna explode or something because of some fire, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And Desmond is like, okay, I'll give my life. Or they give him like a choice.
Yeah.
You can either like live
and lead the survivors, or die and everyone dies.
Or you can die and then no one will die.
Or
That's
something.
it
Or
was,
no, they were gonna take control and like protect over or whatever.
because if he lived, yeah, then they would. Because there was like it was Juno and then someone else, and one of them was evil, and they were like, if you live, we'll protect you and we'll basically enslave you. That sort of deal.
Yeah.
Or if you die, then basically nothing happens.
Yeah.
Which was so stupid. I don't know. I just feel like the way that they ended that off was just like they wanted to be done with it.
Another thing that was confusing, like present day, is when they killed Lucy. Because they said like that she was a spy or something like that.
They said, well, Juno, I think, was the one that was telling them that. Was the one that was saying like, watch out for Lucy. She will betray you, right? And then they're at that like final church place, and they're about to get the apple, I think. And Juno, I think, takes control of Desmond and stabs Lucy. And I'm just like, okay, I don't understand this. They're mixing sci-fi with past realism, and I'm just so confused on what to believe. The whole precursor thing really just got a little out of hand, I feel like, because I couldn't understand at all by the end of it. And so those naval missions, God, and
excuse you, sir.
Sorry. In 3, really, everyone was talking about how great they were. Like all the reviews were mentioning them, and so they were like, all right, we got to get on this. So they make a whole game full of it. Black Flag. Yeah. Which was actually a really good game. It was really fun.
I enjoyed it, yeah.
Because you would just be a pirate.
Yeah.
And you'd like, it was the same thing as like, I would want to get into fights so I could get loot and stuff like that. Yeah. So I could improve my, either improve my shit or get money. And it really made... It was like the one pirate game that did pirate games right. I don't know. I think the people that worked on Black Flag are making a standalone
Assassin's Creed.
I don't think it's gonna be. It's like its own separate thing.
Like pirates or.
But yeah, pirates, naval pirate combat, stuff like that.
Interesting.
I'm gonna be looking at that, but the present day story got butchered completely. You were basically just like introduced to this place. You were in Abstergo. You were like some employee there at like France, and so you got into the,
and they force you to be a terrible employee.
Yeah, because you're like hacking and everything, and you're like finding out how Desmond died and stuff, and it's just like, okay. Actually, didn't finish Black Flag.
You didn't?
Mm-mm. I keep trying to, and I just can't. I just don't. Because I'll either like move on to something else before I can finish it, or I grind so much that I burn out.
I liked taking down sharks and shit.
That was insane.
Yeah.
Dude, I tried to take down this, there's like a community event stuff.
Yeah.
And there was a blue, or a white whale, like Moby Dick. That was hard.
They have like a
so many times.
White whale?
That was hard. But, oh man, you should. When I pulled that baby up, it was like tipping over the whole boat. It felt really good to get it though. But, it was really fun. Taking out the outpost too. That was a lot of fun. And then they technically went on to Rogue, which I actually haven't played.
Rogue.
That's the one game I haven't played. It was like released alongside of Unity. It was about an assassin turned Templar because he got burned really bad by them. And so he's like going through and hunting down assassins while assassins are hunting him down.
I think I saw something like that.
You would have like times where an assassin, a member of the order, would come and like attack you, like just out of the blue, and you'd have to fight back. I haven't played it yet, but it sounds interesting. It's actually a prequel to 3, technically.
Really?
It's sort of, yeah, because the I think your mentor in 3 was a part of what Shay, the main character of Rogue, is mad about. So he's like hunting down all the people, and so that's why he's like the only one left. But I haven't played that one yet. It looks pretty good though. It was supposed to be like, here's a last gen for everybody who can't like afford to go get a PS4 or something. So it was pretty nice of them to do something like that. And then we had the French Revolution, Assassin's Creed Unity, the first step in a next gen, as they say. Which going back into it, it was kind of like, okay, it's sort of next gen, and it sort of doesn't feel like it as much anymore. Because the colors really got washed out. I don't know. The graphics looked a little weird to me at some points. Like it'd get really yellow and green when you'd like walk outside, and I was like, I don't think this is how the sun works. It did introduce a lot of customization. The present day was completely gone. There was no such thing, except for like small snippets of clips that you'd see. And then they introduced customization and co-op. The co-op was pretty fun, I thought. I really enjoyed that. I'd like to see some more of that. Maybe like a standalone game where you just have missions where you just like Payday.
I'd like
like a Payday style.
Honestly, I'd like to see them go back to the basics. Even if they don't put in like recruiting, like Black Flag was good.
I know, but I feel like they know how good it is, so they're trying to move away from it.
Well, like what do you mean?
Like, I don't, the main selling point, the reason why Black Flag did so well was because of the naval combat.
Yeah.
And like it did pirating well.
Yeah.
So how would they like build on Black Flag without being too similar? You see? That's why they're like, we got to move away from it and not make Black Flag 2.
Do you think maybe they're putting some space in between games like that? Like, maybe they'll come back to it later, or are you thinking like, no, fuck that, we're not doing that anymore?
It's hard to say, especially if they're doing an independent Black Flag type deal. Which I don't know if that's gonna that's taking up the spot, or what. But I mean, because Unity didn't have any of that, Syndicate didn't either, and they were both Syndicate and Unity felt a lot similar to each other. So I don't know if they're gonna bring it back. I doubt they will. I have no clue what they would do with it.
Yeah. Probably, I don't know, reinvent. Well, the reason I say that is because, Call of Duty is kind of going back to something similar. Not the same thing, but something similar.
World War II. That was like way back in the day.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm asking. Like, do you think?
But this was 4 was 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Whereas with Call of Duty, it's quite a bit longer than that. So I don't know if they'd go back to Black Flag. If I wanted them to do anything, I'd probably be make another Brotherhood or 2.
Yeah.
And then they released Syndicate in 2015 to mixed acclaim. It was pretty average. There was nothing really special about it. The only thing that they had was the whole sneaking and not sneaking thing, which I like the idea of the guy who had his hat on and then he'd take it off and put on his hood. I like that. I was like, oh shit, that looks so good. I need to get that game. But then it was you would only crouch when you were in that, and I was like, I want to stand up though. I want to stand up and look like Ezio and all the people before me.
Yeah.
I thought it was cool how they had 2 characters. They weren't really different from each other. Except, I think one had more attack and one was...
I didn't like how you had to upgrade each one individually.
That was a little dumb. That was really dumb. And the parkour was... It was okay. I did like the zipliner. I know you didn't.
No.
I thought it was a good way to zip around. Especially with how big the map was. But it did kind of defeat parkour.
Yeah.
In general. I did like the moving base. Like the train.
I didn't.
Yeah.
Not a fan
I
of that
thought it was
either.
really cool because you just had you were like, choo choo, motherfucker.
There was nothing to build on there. They didn't even allow you to upgrade your train.
Actually, Unity had a base. It was that little cafe, and you would do missions and upgrade it and stuff. Which was a little bit more like Monterey.
I've kind of forgotten about Unity.
It's not. It's easy to forget, honestly.
Yeah. I liked playing it, I remember that, but...
I don't think Black Flag had any base building. Yeah, no, it didn't. And Syndicate.
I thought it did. It had a house. Their house that he made for his wife or whatever.
Big mansion thing?
Yeah.
Yeah. That makes sense. And then Syndicate didn't really have much to it. Except maybe you to recruit members and stuff. I was like, Caleb, you don't like this game? You could be a gang leader. I didn't like the combat. It was so cartoony. And it was so stupid looking. It made me want to gouge my eyeballs out.
So what's next? What do they got next?
Oh, the movie.
The movie. I couldn't finish it.
Why?
It was just kind of like boring.
What was boring to you?
It wasn't a story that I was familiar with. It was too different. It was like I was watching somebody's like fan stuff, you know? Like somebody wrote their own little thing and didn't stay true to the, universe of it.
How so? Like, what was so wrong about it?
I don't know. They had this weird, like, little system. Instead of, like, lying down in an animus, he's, like, there doing everything.
I mean, that's pretty believable, though, that they have something like that. You know? Because the animus is pretty... Like, that was the animus 2.0 that like, the little group was having.
I think I just didn't get it, and it lost my interest.
I thought it was pretty fun. I like the combat.
So tell me more about it, because I didn't finish it.
They nailed the combat scenes and the parkour. Like, absolutely nailed it. Like, that's what I wanted in an Assassin's Creed game. That reminded me of Brotherhood style combat and parkour. It was like more. It was like, well, actually, Unity parkour with Assassin's Creed Brotherhood combat. It was so good. The modern day stuff was a little iffy on. I was a little iffy on that one because they didn't really explain too much about Abstergo. They had like a little snippet, I think, at the beginning that said these are the Templars, but they didn't go like too in depth into it. Like my dad didn't find out that they were the bad guys from the past. That had like gone through.
Like Templar?
Like, he didn't know Abstergo were the Knights Templar.
Oh, really?
That the Brotherhood was fighting against. Until I told him that. Which I don't know if that was, like, really a spoiler in the movie. Because towards the end, or, like, I think it was right after they start. What'd you finish on? Do you remember?
It was, like... I was watching it during the day, and I fell asleep watching it. It was, like... It was like that first battle scene. And I think it kind of... I don't know. It's hard to remember.
It was really good, I think.
It was like... it kind of shows him in the Animus and, like, seeing, like, all the people he needs to take down. That first, like, battle where he's, like, in the Animus.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's where I cut off.
Dang, that's pretty early.
Yep.
You didn't... Okay, well... Well, because, like, after that, he starts going through what Desmond went through. Like, he starts seeing shadows of the past. And he starts fighting them and stuff. So they're trying to find the Apple of Eden, of course. That's what everyone's trying to do. And, they managed to trick him enough to where he gives away the information. And then, like, the president of this facility that he's in... And his, like, daughter, they, like, run off. to go and get it and then go and present it to the order in like London, I think. And so the main character manages to escape, and you see all these hooded people and walking into the order's base and stuff. And then after the dad goes in there, and it's like basically, well, like the daughter had this agenda of like world peace. She was like all about world peace.
Yeah.
And the dad was like, well, we got to kill some people to get that world peace, and that's that.
Like sacrifice talk, like...
Yeah, and she was like, oh my god.
Why didn't I see this before?
So he goes into the main room to give a speech, and she sees the main character there. And this is like a little bit, like a few days later. So she's like, oh my god. Starts freaking out. And he's like, yeah, he's gonna die. And then like it's talking to him, like doing the speech and stuff. And I think the main character comes up and like slices his throat open. And then takes the apple. And they all like pass it around like all the other hooded figures do.
Yeah.
And they all just walk out and they got the apple. They set it up to where it's like there could be a sequel, but there's probably not.
Yeah.
But it could go on. I enjoyed it. I mostly enjoyed the combat scenes.
So are we on the last thing now? Origins.
Well, they did have like a trilogy of like off games where it was like a 2D stealth platformer.
I like the apps and...
No, it wasn't an app. It was like a full blown console thing.
Yeah, but it was like you only see them from the side or whatever.
Yeah, 2D.
Yeah, 2D.
It was 2.5D because they were like 3D models.
Yeah.
But I only played the first one, which was in China. They did 3. They did one in China, India, and Russia. Which I guess I'd only recommend those if you're really wanting to know how the Brotherhood operates in different parts of the world. So they were decent games. They were only like $20, I think. So, and they like sold them in a trilogy for pretty cheap, I think. Good series. Anyway, Origins. The big bad numero. Well,
this is getting good reviews, right?
Oh yeah, like 9 out of 10s, which is actually surprising considering Steam is usually like really heavy on their reviews. Usually, like all AAA games get mixed scores. Let me see. So, apparently it is really good. I have heard that it is incredibly grindy. Like, much more so than Shadow of War. Or, like, even an MMO. It's a full-blown RPG type.
Really?
Grind. No, I haven't played it. And it's got very positive reviews, which is, again, really surprising. Because most games on here don't get... Like, anything that's AAA usually gets mixed score. Shadow of War got, like, mostly positive on here. But, anyway. So, I'm not sure how to think about Origins, honestly. Like, to be honest, the graphics look really good on it. I don't think anyone would say. Would you agree?
I don't know. I've seen some gameplay, and it wasn't that great. Like
the graphics
well,
or the gameplay?
I take that back. The graphics were fine, but the gameplay was like,
I think
what have you done?
The graphics look good.
Yeah.
But the gameplay, I just can't. I don't know how I'm going to ever get behind that combat.
You know what we should do? We should invest and get this game. One of us get this game so we both can at least like try it out.
Well, I would want to get it on PC.
Yeah.
So you'd have to come over.
That's fine. Yeah.
We'll do it. Unless if you build a PC, I could actually share my Steam library with you.
Oh, really?
And you could like play games that are on there.
Interesting. Well, that's what something behind the scenes.
Behind
folks.
the scenes, hey, don't listen in on this. Stop eavesdropping. I think that's a good idea.
Yeah.
But man, I just don't know. To be honest, I love this series because I like have every game
Yeah.
in the series.
I guess I'm less loyal than I thought I was.
I guess you're right.
Because ever since Syndicate, I just kind of been an SMH, like, dude, what are y'all doing?
I was like still on board after Syndicate. I was like, I'll stick with you guys. Until I saw the combat, and then I was like, I don't know about that. I used to be day one. Day one, I'm gonna get this.
Yeah.
And I just couldn't.
Like, excited about it all
I was
year.
actually really excited about it. Which is good, because that's the series, like, that's why they took a year off, because now people are a little bit more re-energized. I'm wondering, actually, if they're going to start doing every other year.
I don't know.
Which I would be okay with, because at this point, I don't know how I feel about Origins. Unless Origin is, like, so good when I play it. That's just, like...
You don't even care if
I'm
that's
just
changed?
like, come on. Get one out the next year. We need one in 2018. You know, something like that.
I wonder if they'll have, like, a party, like, RPG. Like, you know how you have your party on, like, let's say, Dragon Age or whatever?
Yeah.
I wonder if they'll eventually do that.
Where, like, you'll have another person?
Yeah.
It depends on the... Nope.
No.
It's only single player.
Well, no, I'm talking about in future games.
Oh, yeah. I hope they do. It's just, I hope... I don't want the RPG to just completely take over everything. I appreciated it in Unity, where they had, like, the different gear and stats and stuff. But I don't want it to just
turn into
be the game.
Yeah.
Where that's the whole point. Because, like, in the other games, it was just, do you have enough money? Here's a new piece of gear that's better than everything else. Have fun playing through the rest of the game. I don't know. I do like the concept of it, though. The Origins.
Yeah.
They definitely needed to go back and
like
explore this. Yeah. And just
I was, back when all this stuff was coming out, I was hoping for, like, a World War II one.
Everyone is.
Yeah.
Everyone's either hoping for a World War series.
Yeah.
Or a Japanese. To be a samurai. Everyone wants to be a samurai.
What?
That's what everyone's saying, dog. Because it makes sense. I mean, ninjas and assassins are pretty much the same thing.
Yeah.
So, I think they said something about if they did a World War, it wouldn't really work out too well. Which would make sense because they'd have guns at that point.
Yeah,
and then it'd be more like a
third
person shooter.
Because when I was thinking that, I was like, but how? Like, how are they going to do that?
Plus, I wonder how that would really work in terms of the story. I guess the Knights Templar are the Axis, but then you're grouping them with literally Hitler. You know what I mean?
I think if they did World War I, it'd be possible, you know?
Yeah.
But World War II would just be too advanced.
Well, and the whole thing about the Templars versus Assassins is that it's so gray between both of them. Because really, the Templars just want there to be no conflict for people to live, you know. And the Assassins want people to live how they want to live.
Yeah.
So, but if they made a World War II, the main bad guy would, if they did it like this, would be the Axis, which would be Hitler.
Yeah.
Which would be like, that's not gray anymore. That dude's fucking evil. You know? So, I don't know. I feel like a World War I would definitely, I would pay to see some of that.
Yeah.
But I don't know how 2 would work.
Well, just thinking about it, I'm thinking, like, Hitler, like, maybe, like, the Templars, like, kind of release him, you know, like, you do what you have to do and will pick up the pieces or whatever, just kind of, like, let go a stray dog or kind of run from the background.
But it'd have to be more like, oh God, we didn't know he was gonna do this, you know.
He's gone too far.
Well, because that's what I mean. You don't want to... The whole point is not making the Templars look so dastardly evil.
Like they know that, or they think that at least they're trying to do something good.
They know, well, they think that they are.
Yeah.
They know that they're going to do something good with this. And the assassins are the ones that are saying, no, you're not. We're going to do something good. And that's the whole point.
We're going to save the world, not you guys.
And it really is supposed to be more of a discussion type deal.
Yeah.
Like, well, what's better, to have everyone kill each other, or
everyone live under somebody?
Live under one mind, basically.
One world order.
And I feel like if they did anything like that with World War, it'd be really it'd be crossing a line at some point.
Yeah.
And I don't know. What would you really like? What period in time would you really like to see? If you have like any.
Probably right after Origins. You know, where they got like a whole... civilization really starts to like flourish and rise, and, you know...
I like if after Origins, I like them to do something more like there's different regions. Like here you have Egypt, which is your headquarters basically.
Kind of go back to the
headquarters, and then like go back to 2 where you're like branching out, but more in depth, where you're like, you got Egypt, you got Greece, you got Italy, you know, all these places, and you're like, you have to go in and basically build up a brotherhood in each place. Yeah. Like, sort of like Shadow of War.
That's kind of to the T,
right? Chase. Right. It's a little sad that it's like that, but I honestly see something like that working really well with a sequel to Origins or something.
Yeah. Well, I think that concept is just so new and fresh and like able to happen that it's like, we want more of this. Like, please give us more of this.
I know, it's really hard to figure out like where they're gonna put it next, because Warner Brothers is the one that's got that hold on the Nemesis system. So hopefully, you know, it doesn't really need the Nemesis system. Assassin's Creed doesn't really need that.
Just the building of it.
Just needs the recruiting, and I'd really like I don't know. I just like, again, I like the Nemesis system because you get a bond with your followers and stuff.
The dialogue, more story behind it.
It's a specific type of not mechanic, but what is it called? Game. It's sort of like a gameplay aspect. It's called emergent gaming, where it's like the game doesn't create the stories, the player does. That sort of deal. And I'd like to see that in every game. Yeah. Because that just gives so much replay value. Yeah. Not to mention all the stories you could like type up.
It's more realistic. Like, you're capable. Like, you
like people have their own
You're
goals.
making your own story.
And like, if your guy wants to betray you, fuck him. He has his own goals.
I was doing good on not cursing, I think you just like...
What? I can't. I'm sick, dog. I can't do it anymore. You know?
No, it's good.
My throat really hurts. I would, you know, with people having their own goals and aspirations. Like, because in Shadow of War, it wasn't really like they want to go and do something else and then they went and did it. They just, like, betrayed you to betray you. Yeah. Which is alright. But I'd like to see more, like, maybe an assassin does something behind your back. Yeah. Like, does a mission wrong or something. And you have to go
greedy or something like that. Yeah.
And you'd have to go after him and, like, teach him. And if he doesn't listen to you, you got to be like, alright, you're not allowed. And the Brotherhood anymore.
You know what would be a good game for something like that also? Star Wars.
I don't know.
I think so.
I'm more behind Assassin's Creed, but I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying, but I can't get into Star Wars as much as I can.
I'm just saying, like, you build an order like in the story of like Jedi and all that. They're always like changing sides.
Yeah.
It'd be perfect for it, I think.
No, yeah, it'd be really good for it. I just don't know how they would do that.
I mean, they can go ancient like KOTOR or after all of this, Darth Vader stuff and futuristic.
I'd be down. I don't think I'm as excited to play a Jedi as other people are.
No, but it's kind of been overdone a little bit.
And everyone's basically dead.
Everyone's gone.
Well, it seems like when you're a Jedi, everyone just dies around you.
Okay. Is that all, Chase?
No.
No.
Got some more to talk about.
What else?
And that'll be it for us, man.
All right, lead us out, Chase.
Oh, God, I don't know if I can do this. All right, hold on.
What? Yeah, get it all clear.
Updata.